Hai, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, baiklah, insyaAllah hari ini saya akan sharekan dengan you all sambungan kepada lecture kita. Okay, chapter 4 Biological Molecules, part 1. Okay, Macromolecules. Okay, so in this topic, we are going to learn on organic compound, which is carbohydrates. So organic compound meaning the chemical compounds that contain carbon that originate from living things. So anything that called organic compound, so they must have carbon, element carbon. Okay, so there are 4 of them: carbohydrates, protein, lipids, and nucleic acid. So the important terms that you have to know is the monomer, polymer, and larger polymer. Okay, so what is monomer? Monomer is a small, simple molecules that are linked together to form larger molecules. Polymer is a larger molecules that form by combination of monomers. So when we have more than one monomer, so all these monomers are linked together and form polymer. Meanwhile, the larger polymer, also called as macromolecules. So the process that involved in the formation of monomers, polymers, are condensation and hydrolysis reaction. Okay, so what is condensation and what is dehydration? All right, when the two molecules of monomers, they join together to form a polymer, they must lose water. Okay, they must lose molecule of water. So this is the basic for the synthesis of a polymer. Okay, and this process called condensation or dehydration, losing of water. Okay, so these are the formula of condensation, and this is the example. Okay, for example, this is a short polymer. Okay, so when the dehydration happened, a water molecule will be removed in order to join this monomer. Okay, now the two monomers link into one polymer. Okay, with the removal of water molecule. Okay, so dehydration reaction in the synthesis of polymer involved with the removal of water molecule. This process called condensation or dehydration. Okay, no, so this is the example of monosaccharide. So this is a one monosaccharide. Okay, one glucose molecule, and this is another glucose molecule. If you see the structure of this glucose, they have the OH, okay, the OH or hydroxyl functional group. In order to combine these two glucose molecules, these molecules need to undergo condensation process, which is the removal of water molecule. So this hydroxyl group, okay, will be joined and form glycosidic linkage. Okay, now the two hydroxyl group become only one oxygen here. Okay, the remaining will be removed as a water molecule and it form disaccharide. Okay, so this from two monomers of glucose, they form a disaccharide by the removal of water molecule and formation of glycosidic linkage. Okay, so these are the explanation of the reaction. So the example of disaccharide is maltose. Now we go into the opposite reaction to condensation, which is hydrolysis. So hydrolysis is the polymer splitting into monomer. Before this, we learned on condensation when monomers form a polymer. Okay, for hydrolysis, it involves in the formation of monomer from polymer. So the polymer will be split into smaller sections by breaking a bond. Okay, so we need to break a bond, adding hydrogen to one section and hydroxyl to the other section. So since it involves addition of water, this explains why it is called hydrolysis, meaning splitting of water. So this is the reaction of the hydrolysis. So this is the simulation of the hydrolysis. This is the polymer. Okay, so we want to split, or we want to break this bond by adding a water molecule. So what happened? From this water molecule, which consists of hydrogen atom and also hydrogen oxygen atom, so one H will be attached to one monomer. Meanwhile, hydroxyl group will attach to another monomer. Okay, so the polymer now breaks into two monomers. Okay, so these are the example: the digestion of disaccharide maltose into two monomers of glucose. Okay, so the enzyme maltase is needed to catalyze the hydrolysis of maltose into two glucose, and then these glucose molecules are split into these two glucose molecules are split by using water molecule. Okay, so and then from the water molecule, one hydrogen will attach to this side. Meanwhile, the hydroxyl group will attach to this side. Okay, so this is the hydrolysis process. So you have two process. The first one is condensation or dehydration, the loss of water when a polymer is formed. And the second will be hydrolysis, the opposite of the dehydration, which is the addition of water in order to split the polymer into monomers. Okay, so this is the examples of monomers and its polymer. Okay, so amino acid, when it forms polymers, it will form the protein. Fatty acid later will form the phospholipid. Carbohydrate, which are categorized as two, glycerol and monosaccharide. Okay, for glycerol, they will form phospholipid. Meanwhile, monosaccharide will form polysaccharide. And for nucleobases, they will form nucleotides. And later, the polymer is called RNA or DNA. So these are the true or false question. Okay, you might do yourself. Okay, for carbohydrates, first element of this topic is carbohydrate. So this is the element that present in the carbohydrate. So we have carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So it is a large group of organic compound, also called as saccharide or sugar. So the element consists in carbohydrate is carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. It also has carbonyl group. Remember carbonyl group? Okay, and multiple of hydroxyl group. And it produced through photosynthesis by green plants and bacteria. And so this is the empirical formula. So you just add numbers here, okay, and then you will get the composition of the carbohydrate. Consists of sugar, glycogen, starch, and cellulose. So these are the types of carbohydrate. So now we go into the functions of carbohydrate. Okay, of course, carbohydrate as a source of sugar, so it provides energy in humans and also animals. And it can be in the form of glycogen, which provide energy source and energy storage in human and also animals. And it also in the form of starch. Okay, so it act as a food storage in plant, and also can present in the form of cellulose, which become the important materials of cell wall in plant and also fiber in the human diet. Okay, the classification of carbohydrate, there are three: monosaccharide, disaccharide, and polysaccharide. Okay, so you have to know what are the examples of monosaccharide, disaccharide, and polysaccharide. I believe all of you already know about the types of carbohydrate. Okay, just recap all of this. So monosaccharide, mono means single, saccharum means sugar. So it is the simplest carbohydrate. Okay, and all of them are reducing sugar. So you have to recall what is reducing sugar. Okay, how to test either this is reducing sugar or not. Okay, please check this up. And the chemical properties of monosaccharide, normally they are sweet, solid crystalline, low molecular mass and soluble in water. Also classified based on number of carbon backbone and position of the carbonyl group. Okay, so these are the examples of naming. If N is 3, so just put on 3 into the formula CHO, okay, into the formula, and then the name will be triose. N is 4, the name will be tetrose. If N is 5 and N is 6, what is the name for each of them? Okay, please try this out. Okay, for example of monosaccharide, glucose, fructose, and galactose. So this is the structure and the name of D-galactose and D-glucose. Okay, so there are 6 of carbon. So we call it as hexose. Okay, galactose is different from glucose due to the way the hydroxyl group is located in the 4th carbon. So this is the name that is influenced by the location of the hydroxyl group. Okay, so galactose, this is the carbon number 4. So the location of the hydroxyl group is here. Okay. Meanwhile, the location of the D-glucose is here. Okay. So the differences in the location of the hydroxyl group will give different name to the monosaccharide. Okay. When both combines, it forms disaccharide lactose. Okay, so this is the glucose and the galactose. The formula is same, but the name is different. You have to know why. Because the location of the hydroxyl group on carbon number 4 is different. Okay, the molar mass also quite different. Okay, a little bit different. And this is the structure. Okay, so the structure of the glucose, they can exist in both open chain and cyclic form. Okay, galactose can exist in both open chain and cyclic form. In the open chain form, galactose has a carbonyl at the end of the chain. It has 4 isomer. So dia mempunyai 4 kepelbagaian untuk wujud dalam keadaan chain. Okay, meanwhile for the glucose, it has 5 hydroxyl groups that are arranged in a specific way along the 6 carbon backbone. Okay, they have 5 hydroxyl groups. So the sources of this glucose is juices, fruit sugars, galactose, gum, sugar beets, dairy product, gums, and mucilage. So this is the melting point. The melting point also different. Glucose is broken down in the body and then used as body fuel and energy. Meanwhile, the galactose cannot be easily broken down. Okay. Okay, carbohydrates have a carbonyl group and multiple hydroxyl group. The position of carbonyl group determine the type of sugar. Okay, if you have have heard on the aldose and ketose, okay, so the name of these sugars, okay, is varied due to the position of the carbonyl group. Okay, for aldose, the position is at the end of the carbon backbone, and the ketose is in the middle. Okay, so you have to take alert the name of the carbohydrate. Okay, the given name, the structural given name is different. The first one according to the position of the hydroxy group. Okay, like galactose and glucose. Meanwhile, another factors that influence the name is the position of the carbonyl group. Either it is located at the end of the carbon chain or in the middle. Okay. Now we go into the disaccharide, meaning consists of 2 monomers of sugars or 2 monosaccharide. And the link is glycosidic bond by condensation. Okay. Condensation meaning the removal of water. So these are the chemical properties of the disaccharide, and the reaction. Molecules of water is removed. So this is the process of condensation, and the reverse reaction to this is hydrolysis. Okay, so the example is like maltose, sucrose, and lactose. So these are the formation, reaction, and the source and function. Okay, I believe you can read this, okay, by yourself. Okay, so you have to know when glucose add another glucose, they will form maltose. When glucose add with fructose, they will form sucrose. Okay, and all the sources and the function also you have to know. All right. So this is the formation reaction of disaccharide, of course, by the removal of water, or we call as condensation or dehydration process, the formation of the glycosidic bond. Okay, so this is the glycosidic bond. Okay, then this is again the example of formation of disaccharide. Okay, the maltose, sucrose, and the lactose. Okay, if you can see all of the monomers, okay, they remove water molecule and then they form glycosidic bond. Okay, and now we go into the reducing and non-reducing sugar. So what is the meaning by reducing sugar? It means the sugar can reduce copper ion into copper plus, copper 2 plus ion into copper plus. So when we test with a Benedict solution, okay, so what happened? The brick red precipitation will form after the heating process. Okay, akan ada larutan bertukar berwarna merah bata ataupun ada mendakan. So it means that the sugar that we test is a reducing sugar. Okay, so reducing sugar are monosaccharide, maltose and lactose. Meanwhile, the non-reducing sugar is sucrose. Okay, now we go into the last part is polysaccharide. Okay, combination of many monosaccharide by the same process, condensation, and the structure is variable in length, branch or unbranched, folded straight or coil. So the chemical properties, it is not sweet, okay, and insoluble in water. For example, cellulose, starch, glycogen. So all of these are storage polysaccharide, okay, meaning it's store for the energy, store for the food, okay, as food storage, as energy storage. So it means that is the meaning by storage polysaccharide. Other function is the modified glucose for structural polysaccharide, for example, peptidoglycan that present in the bacterial cell wall, and also chitin, the fungal cell wall. Okay, so these are the examples of the polysaccharide. Okay, the composition and the composed subunits, the structure, this is the shape and the functions, okay, of the polysaccharide. Okay, so this is a chitin that present in the cell wall of fungus as also as in the exoskeleton of insect. Okay, so this is the second abundant natural polymer after cellulose. Okay, so these are the brainstorming questions. Okay, you can test to evaluate your understanding. Okay, and these are our references. Okay, please watch this video and do the exercise given. And if you want to get more information, you can refer to our references. Our main references is Campbell, okay, and also other references uh, you can search, okay, through the link given here. Thank you so much.